I'm already sweating. I think I have... Surely not. Hi, hello, and welcome everyone. First off, I'm very sorry if I am whitewashed out. I can't tell because the light in front of me is so bright. I'm sat in front of the window here in my room on fieldwork, and the lighting just will not work. So I've tried to get it as best as I can. And secondly, apologies for the angle. This is awful, but like I said last week, I broke my tripod, and so I'm having to like prop you up on stuff. So you're currently based on the window frame. Welcome back. I hope you are doing well. Today I thought whilst getting ready, you can probably tell I have no makeup on and my hair is leaving many things to be desired. It's freshly washed, but I slept with it in a bun, so it's gone a bit crazy. I thought I would get ready whilst answering some questions that you wrote on Instagram last week. So yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do this because normally I can't speak while I'm doing my makeup, but we can try. Because I'm filming on my phone, I've got the questions here on my laptop. I will run through what I'm using on my face if I remember, but everything will be linked in the description down in the box. So that's enough of me rambling. Let's just go straight into it. First question is, how difficult is it to write a PhD dissertation? I wouldn't know. Also, this came from somebody called Elton John, which is funny. I wouldn't know. I haven't yet written any of my, I'm drafting my thesis as I go, but I haven't written it yet. My thesis will be a set of 3 papers, hopefully. So my systematic review, my ecological data collection, and then my anthropological data collection chapter. And then with like an intro and a conclusion combined thing. So it should be like 5 chapters, and yeah, 3 of them were papers. So I wouldn't know how difficult it is yet. It's definitely trickier than an undergrad. I don't have a master's, so I've never done a master's dissertation. I wouldn't know about that, but it's tricky because when you start, you don't really know where to begin, and your supervisor should be able to advise whether you'll do a monolith, which is like one big long document, like 80,000 words, I think, or whether you'll do what I'm doing and do a set of 3 papers. For me, I actually really enjoy writing, and I have to tell myself I need to do other tasks before I write. I really enjoy editing what I've written as well, and I get kind of caught up in doing it. So I think as long as you have good people around you who can help, like postdocs and stuff with analysis, that's the part that I'm going to struggle with a lot, is doing the statistics. Making sure you have good support, I think it's kind of doable if you have the data, I guess. And also often universities put on thesis writing workshops and classes that you can go to. So yeah, I think the hardest thing about it is the dauntingness of the fact that it is so long. Mine is going to be, I think, about 70,000 words, which is terrifying. I currently have about 5,000, and I think they'll probably all completely change. So sorry that the first question I couldn't really answer that well, but I will let you know when I get more to the thesis writing stage. I am starting my third year in October, so next month. Eek. I will be in the 3rd year of my PhD, and I haven't published, and I haven't really written that much of my thesis, so really need to get a move on. But whilst I'm here, I am in Ecuador collecting my data for 2 of my chapters, so hopefully when I get back I will be ready to go with writing and getting on with it. So of course I will update as I go. I also post about what I'm writing on my Instagram. Shameless plug, I will put on my screen my app, you can go and follow me there. Overall, I'm assuming it's going to be very tricky, but I don't really know yet. Let me actually put some makeup on because I can see this just becoming me talking and doing nothing. First off, I'm going to use my Maybelline Eraser Eye. This is so old and it's broken, look. I have to like twist it directly onto my beauty blender. But, you know, it works, so not going to bin it yet. The second question is, what did you pack for your fieldwork trip? I am going to do a separate video on what I packed for fieldwork because I think it's different for everyone, but I did pretty well with the basics and I picked pretty useful things to pack. I had suggestions from a lot of people who did tropical field work as well, and I did do a reel on it. I'll put I swear it's been quiet all morning, and the second I go to film, all of the like lawnmowers and noisy motorbikes go past. I did film a reel on what I packed for field work for my scoping visit. I will put that in the description, but I'm going to do a completely separate video on what I packed for fieldwork to hopefully give you guys some ideas. A lot of it was probably excessive, like I brought a lot of paperwork with me that I probably could have done without, but I thought, why not bring it anyway? So yeah, I will cover that in next week's video. Sorry, these questions answers have been awful so far. Also, my skin is really breaking out. I'm not sure why. Normally it's too hot to wear makeup here, but today I just really fancied putting some on. Next question is, how can international students apply for PhDs in Europe or the US? I don't know, I'm really sorry. I'm not an international student and I don't have the time to be researching it. I wish I could help more. I guess a lot of it is Googling. I get a lot of DMs like this on Instagram as well, and all the time I reply like, I'm really sorry, but you need to do your own research, because it's really important that you research how to apply so that when you're doing research in a PhD, you can do the research. I can't help, and neither can any other person on Instagram that isn't an international student. Your best bet is to either reach out to them or to search on Google what to do. It changes per uni, it changes per country, it changes per department. It's completely different. So there is no one answer fits all for that question. I'm sorry, it's not something that non-internationals will know about, apart from the fact that we know it's very expensive. The next question is, how are you doing? What a lovely question. Thank you. I am doing well. I am now over 2 weeks into fieldwork, and I had a really slow start. I was fretting that it was taking me too long to organise stuff, but I now think that I'm getting there. I went out yesterday and deployed some equipment, and then I'm changing and rotating them every 2 weeks. So I'm glad that started. And then I'm meeting with the communities in just over a week's time. But I have so much work to do. I'm still working on writing my first chapter on my systematic review. So I'm going to be working on that this week. And I also need to email a lot of NGOs here. That was a ramble. I'm okay. I'm feeling a bit more hopeful now about my fieldwork. I'm stressed about the fact that I'm nearly a third year and I don't really have that much data, but I trust that it will all come together. I'm also very excited because I'm here alone until the 6th of October, and then George is coming out to stay with me until Christmas, and we are hopefully going to the Galapagos, which I am so excited about. We've both set aside a week and a half at the end of December, just before Christmas, before we fly home, to travel, and we decided that we were going to try and do the Galapagos, which is crazy. And I'm also enjoying Ecuador. I think I'll enjoy it more when George is here, because I'd be more confident going out at night and stuff. At the moment, I'm still trying to be in when it gets dark, just because the locals have said that it's not too safe. So yeah, I'm okay though. Thanks for asking. Next question is, Hannah says, do you think you would have still done a PhD if you'd done a master's beforehand? And I would say yes. I remember saying to my best friend in like year 8, I wanted to do a PhD, and it's always been something that I knew I was going to do or would like to do. I just didn't know I would go straight into it from my undergrad without a master's. I think that I probably would have thought harder about it, but still done it, if that makes sense. I kind of jumped 2 feet deep into the PhD without realising the sheer amount of work and time it was going to take. Oh, by the way, I'm using the Revolution Cream Bronzer in Light. I think I still definitely would have done a PhD, just maybe a bit later in life. Although I am now super glad that I will be hopefully finished when I'm 26, and I will be like ready to go into a job after travelling for a bit. Sorry, this is really hard. I didn't realise how hard it was going to be to talk, think, and do my makeup. Someone else says, how do you find your research questioned? I'm in the first month and I'm very confused. This also really confused me at the start. For those of you who don't know, I came to Oxford, or came to my PhD without a research proposal. I applied to a fully funded project that you would kind of work with your supervisor on deciding the questions in the project. Got rejected from that, and then my supervisor asked if I wanted to do a DPhil separately, and of course I said yes. So I came without a proposal. I never had to write a proposal or anything like that, or research questions. So thinking about them when I got here was really hard, and I actually only set them at the end of my first year. Basically sat down with my supervisor and thought about what research questions were constantly being proposed in other literature for future research. So like at the end of papers, when it was like, we recommend that this gets explored, I would just note down that, and then I looked through, a lot of them kept coming up, and then I knew that my research was really based in the tropical Andes, so I kind of picked the ones that were relevant to here and reworked them, and then thought about the methodologies that I could use and I had access to the experts for, posted that in with it, and then came up with, I think I have, surely not, just have to speak a bit louder. I swear it's getting louder. It's the Morphe Cream Blush in Leave a Comment. I cannot believe that noise. So I basically went through the questions, picked out a couple, and I think I have 7. They change all the time. I posed some to my supervisor and she changed them completely, luckily, and made them so much better. Think of what you want to answer. Don't forget that it is your PhD and that you are interested in this research and finding out more about this field. Athena has said, is it okay to send similar or the same cover letters to professors provided that the academic areas fit? I wouldn't send the exact same one because you should be speaking about their research in it. Make sure that you do personalise it to the professor, because otherwise you can't send one to someone but reference somebody else's work. You need to make sure that they're specific to the professor that you're approaching. But you can keep the format the same. Yeah, I did, and I sent it to numerous people in the same department at both Imperial and Oxford. I think you definitely can keep the same structure, but personalise it to their research, because you should be proving why you want to work with them. So you need to speak about their research and their recent publications and stuff. Opinions on Harris Manchester College and why did you choose it? So for those of you who don't know, I am actually matriculated to St Cross College, which is a postgrad college on St Giles in Oxford. It's very small, but as a self-funded student, I had to find a way to fund my life, basically, or fund my living, because I have no income. And so I got a role as a junior dean at Harris Manchester College, which is basically for student welfare and discipline. Harris Manchester is for students who are over 21. I'm just going to ignore the noise. I basically moved there in September last year. I love the college. The people are amazing. The staff were great. I'm saying in the past tense, I'm still there. When I go back in January, I have got a new role as a student welfare officer, which I'm really excited for. And yeah, I really like the college. It's in a great location. My rooms, my last year room was beautiful, and my room this year is going to be beautiful. It's renowned for its food and the kitchen. The college is beautiful. Overall, big recommend. I think it kind of gets a bit forgotten about because it's like a mature college and you can only go there if you're over 21. But if you are looking at Oxford and you're over 21, I would definitely recommend it. I didn't actually put a preference when I applied because I didn't think that I would get in, so there was no point in me wasting time looking at different colleges. If I was going to apply for a college now for DPhil, Harris Manchester don't actually take DPhil biology, so I couldn't apply there. But I would probably go to Trinity or one of the really big famous ones, just because I would want the clout, and that's so naive and so stupid. But they also have more money for fieldwork, which would be unbelievable as a self-funded student. Oh, by the way, I'm using NARS Coco Cabana highlighter stick. Are there any recreational trips for students at the University of Oxford? I don't really know what you mean by recreational trips. There's ski trips and stuff, like varsity trips and sports trips that go on tour and all of that kind of jazz. And then you can do ones with your course. So I know that undergrad biologists go to Borneo or to Tenerife. I'm using Benefit Gimme Brow for my brows, by the way. Recreationally, I think a lot of it is organised kind of with your friends, apart from if it's a tour with sports. The overall answer to the question is, I think so, maybe. Elle says, how does your new accommodation compare with last year? My room last year was my favourite bedroom I have ever lived in. I had the most beautiful view out of the window. I posted it all the time on Instagram. So this year I am in a very, very, very similar room. It looks over the same road, which I'm very excited about. It's slightly bigger, I think. Both of the rooms are beautiful. I will, of course, do a room tour when I am back. It will be in early January. I'm using a number 7 palette, and this is the eyeshadow that I'm using. Both of the rooms have been beautiful, and I'm very grateful to college for giving me such lovely ones. Celine says, how do you motivate yourself? And there was a lot of questions like this. Basically, I don't. I think Instagram is dangerous because although I do post when I'm doing other stuff, you only get to see maybe 2 or 3 minutes of my day. I spend a lot of my time on my phone, good few hours a day, a lot of time, and that's never really shown because I can't show me on my phone because I'm on my phone, if that makes sense. I basically try and do a little bit every day. I once heard somebody say eat the frog, which is to do 3 hours of hardcore work a day is often more productive than 8 of nothing. So I often just try and do that. It is really hard. A PhD is completely self-motivated. I haven't done the liquid eyeliner in ages, but I had a dream last night that I had some on, so I'm gonna try and do it. This is the Ico Skinny Liquid Eyeliner in black. This could go horrifically. But the short answer is that I don't keep myself motivated every day. There are days where I do loads of work, normally when I'm writing, and days where I can do like literally nothing, where I take like 3 days off. I don't think anyone can motivate themselves all of the time. I am the first person in my family to get a PhD. I'm also one of the youngest people in my cohort. That motivates me because I'm determined to finish and still be one of the youngest. So often it's like external things that motivate me, not necessarily myself, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think keeping on top of to-do lists helps me stay motivated because I have to be motivated. Literally obsessed with writing down what I need to do because otherwise I'll forget it. And I think crossing stuff off really motivates me as well. I did a reel this week about softwares that I use that help me stay organised. We'll again link that in the description. But typically I go in ebbs and flows. Like I'll be really motivated for a couple of days and then it's game over for like a week. I'm really sorry that doesn't really answer how I keep myself motivated, but I hope it helped a little bit. Okay, I'm actually gonna try this now. You know what? I'm actually kind of impressed with that. Now is the time to do the other eye and then watch it all go to The eyeliner is definitely kind of old. It's kind of more of like a brownie grey. Okay, next question. How did you prepare for the CV and statements of purpose? Have you got any scholarships? No, I don't have any scholarships, but I did receive a crazy amount of money in grants. So this year I got £16,000 in grants, which saying that makes me, I can't even describe how like grateful and overwhelmed I was when I received them all. The CV I just followed like on the Oxford portal. You have to put it in separately. You can't just submit a CV, which is the bane of my life, and I hate it when companies make you do that. So I just added in my my academic CV with like my undergrad transcripts and stuff. And then statement of purpose, I just did a letter basically explaining why I wanted to do a PhD and stuff. I have gone through that, I think, on my channel, or I've gone through like a video that kind of goes through my journey to Oxford. So again, I'll link that below because that will be helpful, I think. Somebody said, how do you structure your studying, like templates or methodologies or techniques? I do have a Gantt chart, but I don't really look at it unless I'm kind of really strict. Like on fieldwork I have to do things on certain days, so that's what I'm using the Gantt chart for now. Templates I don't really use, I just use my own things. I find it easier to create them because I can just kind of get out what I'm thinking in my brain onto paper. Techniques, I'm not really sure what you mean. I occasionally use Pomodoro method. Other than that, I don't really use anything. I just write my thesis on Word on like the big open document with not anything that has like templates on it. Basically, I'm following the thesis layout of somebody who did something quite similar to me a couple of years ago. So I'd recommend doing that, like finding somebody who's done something similar and kind of copying how they've organised their chapters or their kind of thesis document, I guess. Someone says, how do you manage work-life balance? Is there any fixed working or relaxing hours? No, I relax far too much. I'm very open about this as well. I don't have any fixed working hours. I try and do like 9 till 5 or 8 till 4. I want to say it, this is Morphe. Yeah, Morphe. Backseat Love lip liner. Probably should work fixed hours for the amount that I get distracted, but I don't. This is the Falsies by Maybelline. Very, very rarely work weekends. If I'm going away for a weekend, I won't bring my laptop. I used to think I worked far better in the morning, but as I'm kind of going through my PhD, I'm realising that I think I work quite well very late at night, which is really not ideal. I wish that wasn't the way, but I'm gonna try and like explore that more this year coming, because if my most productive hours are in the evening, then I need to change my sleeping schedule slightly. Manage it by making sure that I always have plans that I can't cancel on. So like seeing friends who live in London or things like that, that is very like, it's not okay for me to cancel because A, I don't want to, and B, that's a good way to make sure that I'm doing other things as well. Bex says, do you have any tips or advice for starting a PhD? I have a whole bunch over on Instagram. That's not me to promo again, that is just saying that's where most of my tips are. My main tip for starting would be allow yourself time to settle in. Meet people, make friends. They will be the ones that will support you and get you through the PhD when times are tough. Before coming on fieldwork, I had a really, really difficult couple of weeks. Things weren't going right. Things were happening in Ecuador. There was like assassinations and stuff. But the only people who knew my frustrations were those who were also doing PhDs and like my closest friends in my department and in my lab. So definitely make really good friends. Start a way of organising your notes and stick to it. Find a reference manager. I use Atero. Like label what you're doing really, really well so that when you have to come back to it, if you go away for a weekend or a couple of weeks, you come back to something, you know exactly where you were and what your next step was. Be specific when saving things. Regularly clear out your inbox. Regularly clear out your laptop. Have some nice stationery because it makes life easier. Don't take paper copies when you can get an online copy. It's far easier to search on your laptop for something than flick through a folder of paper. Also better for the planet. Use OneNote for your notes. I mention this pretty much in every video, but it's a game changer. Write your anecdotes. Write your acknowledgements as you go. It's a huge motivator. Makes you really proud. I read mine quite a lot and often cry. Lol. There was a brain dump of my the first things that came to my mind. And then the final question, because I'm very nearly ready. Normally it takes me like 5 minutes to do my makeup, and I've now been filming for 34 minutes and 32 seconds. How do you convert PhD ideas into a proposal or a conversation with possible supervisors or pick a uni? I only applied to 2 unis, so I can't really help on the picking a uni, but make sure that it's in a city that you would like to live in. Make sure that there's good research going on there. Make sure they have a good student kind of vibe. Converting a PhD idea, I can't really help with because my supervisor helped me once I was at uni. But email supervisors, be brave, keep the email short, introduce yourself, add a copy of your CV, and just ask if they are taking PhD students. Reference their work. Supervisors love it when you obviously show that you know about their work and their recent papers. They will often work with you to form a proposal. I guarantee you the proposal that you come to uni with will not be the same one that you end with. Every single person who I know doing a PhD has changed their proposal numerous times, unless they are from a funder that states specifically what must be done. And then it's easy because you don't have to do the proposal. Use your supervisor to your advantage. They are the expert. They will help you with the proposal, but be brave with the email. But if anyone has any more questions they'd like me to answer, I'm happy to write some answers in the comments. I am going to put on some powder. That is something I didn't do. This is the number 7 without a lid. How gross is that? Number 7, Flawless Finishing Powder in Translucent. When I go out, I'm going to put this lip gloss on. This is my favourite lip gloss ever. Kiko 3D Hydro Lip Gloss in the shade 3. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the chaoticness whilst doing my makeup. I underestimated how hard it would be. Sorry for some of the questions being a bit useless or my answers being useless. I will catch you in next week's video. Have a lovely week. Adios.